Welcome. Tonight, this story is for the student. The one who did not sign up for this class, who did not choose the curriculum, who did not ask to be enrolled, and yet, somehow, here you are. A desk. Candle. A teacher who has been waiting a very long time. And a slow, gentle set of lessons about who you actually are, when no one else is in the room. If you are inside your Saturn return, and your Saturn is in Aries, this episode is for you. If you are wondering why the last few months have felt like a long, quiet lesson you cannot quite name, this episode is for you. And if you are simply curious about what this season teaches, and why so many people in their late 20s have been walking around with a different look in their eyes lately, you are welcome here as well. Before we begin, give yourself a moment. There is nothing you need to learn tonight. There is nothing you need to understand. The teacher in this story does not test you. The teacher in this story only wants you to rest. Let your shoulders drop. Just a little. Notice the weight of your head against the pillow. Notice the soft warmth at the base of your skull, where the pillow meets your hair. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Notice the small, soft rise and fall of your own breath, without trying to change it. You don't have to do anything for the next half hour. You don't have to follow this perfectly. If your mind drifts, that is part of the listening too. Take a slow breath in through your nose, and let it out through soft lips, longer than the inhale. Again, slower this time. Let your belly rise gently as the air comes in. Let your shoulders fall as the air goes out. And one more. Letting your jaw soften. Letting your tongue rest gently behind your teeth. Letting your eyebrows unknit. Letting the small muscles around your eyes go quiet. Letting your hands open very slightly, where they rest beside you. One last breath. Let it be the slowest one yet. Notice how the air feels just at the tip of your nose as it comes in. Notice the small pause at the top of the inhale before the exhale begins. Notice how the body, when given permission, knows exactly what to do. Good. Now settle in. In Vedic astrology and in Western astrology, and in every old tradition that has ever looked up at the sky and tried to make sense of a human life, Saturn is the teacher. Not a metaphor for the teacher. The teacher. Saturn is the slowest of the visible planets. From the Earth, you can watch it move across the sky for nearly 30 years before it returns to where it started. That slowness is the whole point. Saturn is the planet of time, of patience, of accuracy, of structure built carefully and tested by weather. The old astrologers called Saturn the great teacher, sometimes the hard teacher, sometimes the kind teacher after the lessons land. Saturn is not the planet of punishment. That is a misunderstanding the modern world has fallen into, because the modern world does not like teachers who say no. Saturn is the planet of honesty, of structure, of what is real, of what holds, after the seasons have come and gone. Saturn does not punish you. Saturn simply removes what was never going to last. And sometimes that removal aches, not because the lesson is cruel, but because you had grown so used to what was being removed that you mistook it for who you were. Saturn is also the part of you that knows how to wait. The part of you that does not need to be applauded to keep going. The part of you that can hold a discipline for 10 years and not break. The part of you that says no when no is necessary. The part of you that does not flinch when the work is slow. The part of you that is, quietly, the one who shows up. Aries is a different temperament entirely. In Vedic astrology, Aries is Mesha, the ram, the very first sign of the zodiac. The energy of beginnings, of fire, of initiative. Aries is courage. Honest courage. Not the courage of strategy, but the courage of instinct. The courage that does not stop to consider whether it is allowed. The courage that just goes. So what happens, the old astrologers asked, when the slowest, most patient teacher in the sky walks into the classroom of the most impatient, most direct sign of the zodiac, and stays there for 2.5 years? What happens is what is happening now. Saturn entered the sign of Aries in the year 2025. Saturn will remain in Aries until early 2028. For everyone alive on this planet during these years, this transit is shaping something. But for one specific group of people, the shaping is more personal. If you were born between roughly 1996 and 1999, your natal Saturn is in Aries, which means right now, transiting Saturn is returning to the place where your Saturn stood the day you were born. This is your Saturn return. And this Saturn return is teaching you something very specific. Now imagine this. You are walking, in the soft evening light, up a quiet hillside path. The wind is gentle. The grass is silver under the moon. At the top of the hill there is a small schoolhouse. A single building. One window glowing warm against the dark. One chimney with a slow, peaceful smoke. You arrive at the door. You don't knock. The door opens by itself. Inside there is one room. One desk for you. One desk for the teacher. A candle burning steadily between you. A slate on the wall. A small wood stove in the corner. A folded wool blanket waiting on your chair. The teacher is already seated. The teacher is old. Not in the way of someone tired, but in the way of someone who has been doing this work for so long that it has settled into them, like sediment settles into stone. The teacher does not stand up to greet you. The teacher does not smile too much. The teacher only nods, slowly, once, and gestures to your desk. You sit down. You pull the blanket over your shoulders. There is no test. There is no homework. There is only this room, this teacher, this candle, and a long, quiet curriculum that has been waiting for you since the day you were born. The teacher is Saturn. The classroom is your life right now. You understand, in the way you sometimes understand things in dreams, that the teacher is not your enemy. The teacher is not punishing you. The teacher is not even teaching you exactly. The teacher is simply standing beside what is true, until you can stand beside it too. The teacher has been doing this work for thousands of years. Every person who has ever lived has at some point taken this seat. The teacher recognizes you, even though you have never met. You recognize the teacher too somewhere deep, although you cannot remember when. The teacher writes a single word on the slate, in slow, clean letters. The word is real. That is the whole curriculum. That is the only subject. Saturn in Aries is teaching you what is real about you, and what is not. What is yours and what was borrowed. What is sturdy and what was decoration. What can hold weight and what will dissolve the first time you lean on it. The teacher writes a second word, underneath. The word is yours, and you understand, without anyone having to say it, that those two words are the entire course. The teacher pulls a small book from the desk drawer. It is not large. It is not heavy. It is the book of your life so far. The teacher does not read it to you. The teacher only sets it on the desk, between you, and lets it rest there in the candlelight. Outside the window, the stars are slow. Inside, the candle does not flicker. The wood stove gives off a warmth you can feel in your shoulders, in your collarbones, in the small space between your ribs. The blanket on your shoulders is heavier than you expected. Not heavy in a way that presses. Heavy in a way that holds. It smells faintly of cedar. It smells faintly of something older than cedar, something you cannot name, but that you trust immediately. You let yourself sink into the chair a little more. You let your forearms rest on the desk. You let your eyelids grow gentle. The teacher does not mind. The teacher knows this is part of it. The lesson does not arrive in words. The lesson arrives the way weather arrives. Slowly, gently, around you, through you, as if it has always been here, and you are only now soft enough to notice it. Listen for a moment to the small sounds in this room. the slow tick of the wood inside the stove, the very faint hiss of the candle wick, the soft creak of the wooden floor settling, the way wooden floors settle in old buildings at night. Somewhere outside, the wind passes through the long grass on the hillside, low and patient. None of these sounds are asking anything of you. They are only company. The teacher does not fill the silence. The teacher has learned, over centuries, that silence is half the curriculum. So the room is allowed to be quiet. So you are allowed to be quiet inside it. You notice the smell of the cedar in the blanket. You notice the smell of beeswax from the candle. You notice the faint, sweet smell of old paper from the small book on the desk. Each smell is like a soft, slow thread, tying you a little more gently into the room. You are not anywhere else. You are not anywhere you need to leave. You are here. You are warm. You are received. The teacher pours a small cup of something warm. A clay cup. A slow ribbon of steam. The teacher slides the cup across the desk toward you, without a word. You wrap your hands around it. The warmth travels up through your palms, into your wrists, into your forearms, into the small tight place under your collarbones, and softens what was tight there. You did not know you were holding anything until the warmth arrived. You are allowed to set it down now. You are allowed to set all of it down. The teacher is not in any hurry. The candle is not in any hurry. The hillside outside is not in any hurry. Even the stars, slow as they are not in any hurry tonight. Here is the curriculum. Saturn in Aries is teaching you 7 specific things. Not because 7 is a magic number. Because there are exactly 7, and they are the 7 that arrive in this order every time. The first lesson is this. You are allowed to want what you want. For most of your 20s, you have lived inside other people's permission slips. The world told you what to want. Your family told you what to want. The internet told you what to want. Your friends, by what they celebrated and what they ignored, told you what to want. You learned very early to filter your own desires through what would be acceptable to want. You learned to dress your real wants in safer clothes. Saturn in Aries is very slowly taking those clothes off. The teacher is not stripping you bare. The teacher is only letting you see, in the candlelight, that the want underneath was always cleaner than the costume. You are allowed to want a quiet life. You are allowed to want a loud one. You are allowed to want the unfashionable thing. You are allowed to want the lonely thing. You are allowed to want, without rehearsing the explanation in your head before you say it out loud. The second lesson is this. Your courage is not a personality trait. It is a muscle. Aries is the sign of courage. But Saturn does not let courage stay decorative. Under this transit, you will be asked to use your courage, not perform it. There is a difference. Performed courage is loud. Real courage is quiet. Real courage is sending the email, leaving the room, telling the truth in the small voice instead of the big one. Real courage is choosing, every day, the slightly harder honest thing over the slightly easier dishonest thing. By the end of this transit, your courage will not be a thing you talk about. It will be a thing you have. The teacher is not interested in how much you can describe your own bravery. The teacher is only interested in whether you have begun to use it. The third lesson is this. You do not have to be in a hurry. This is the lesson that surprises the Aries Saturn the most. Because everything about Aries says go. Saturn in Aries does not silence the go. Saturn in Aries teaches the go how to walk slowly. You will find, somewhere in the middle of this transit, that you have stopped running toward your own life. You have started arriving at it instead. Decisions that used to take 5 minutes now take 5 weeks, and you will be surprised to discover that the 5-week decisions are better. The teacher is not telling you to be slow. The teacher is showing you that slow, in some seasons, is the same thing as accurate. The fourth lesson is this. You are responsible for your own voice. For years, you have outsourced your voice to advisors, to partners, to friends, to the part of you that did not believe your own opinions were worth saying out loud. Saturn in Aries gently, persistently, returns your voice to you. You will find yourself saying things this year that you have been waiting to say since you were 18. You will find that the world does not end when you say them. You will find that the people who actually love you lean in instead of pulling away. The teacher does not want a voice that is louder than necessary. The teacher wants a voice that is yours. The fifth lesson is this. You are allowed to begin again. Aries is the sign of beginnings. Saturn is the planet of structure. Saturn in Aries gives you permission to begin again, but this time with structure. Not the wild, frantic beginnings of your early 20s, where every Monday was the start of a new identity. The deeper beginnings, the careful beginnings, the kind that lasts. You will find this year that the new thing you want to begin is not new at all. It is something you have been quietly carrying for years, waiting for the right teacher to walk into the room. The teacher has walked in. The teacher is here now. You can begin. The sixth lesson is this. You are not behind. This is perhaps the most difficult lesson of all. Saturn in Aries lands on a generation that has been told, in 1,000 quiet ways, that they are behind. Behind on careers. Behind on relationships. Behind on owning anything. Behind on figuring it out. Saturn in Aries is gently, firmly, kindly, taking that timeline away. There is no timeline. There never was. The timeline was an invention of an anxious world that did not know what else to do with its anxiety. The teacher does not believe in your timeline. The teacher only believes in the work you can actually do today. And if the work you can actually do today is rest, then rest is the work and you are not behind. You are exactly on time. You are exactly on time. You are exactly on time. The seventh lesson is this. You are becoming someone you have not met yet. This is the gift hidden inside all the other lessons. By the end of this transit, you will be a person you do not currently know how to be. Not a louder version of you. Not a faker version. A truer version. The version your 18-year-old self could not have imagined, because they did not yet know what kind of weather you would walk through. The teacher is not turning you into someone else. The teacher is turning you into the person who was always underneath. The person Saturn could already see the day you were born, when transiting Saturn was where it is again now. These are the 7 lessons. They do not arrive in order. They overlap. They circle. They return. Some weeks you will get all 7 in a single afternoon. Some months only 1. The teacher is patient. The teacher will repeat the lesson as many times as you need. The teacher has nothing else to do. You may notice, somewhere inside this curriculum, that the lessons are not so much new information as they are remembered information. You knew when you were 5 years old that you were allowed to want what you wanted. You knew when you were 7 that your voice was yours. You knew when you were 9 that you did not need to be in a hurry. These are not new lessons. These are old lessons that the world, slowly and accidentally, taught you to forget. Saturn is not adding anything to you. Saturn is only returning what was always there. The teacher is not a stranger. The teacher is the part of you that has been keeping these lessons safe, in a small wooden room on a hillside, until you were ready to walk up the path and find them again. That is why this Saturn return feels like coming home, even when it also feels like everything is changing. Because everything that is changing in the direction of who you already were, before the world made you forget. The schoolhouse is not somewhere new. The schoolhouse is somewhere you used to live. The teacher is not somewhere new. The teacher is somewhere you used to know. You are not learning. You are remembering. And remembering is, in some ways, the slowest and most beautiful kind of learning there is. So what does this Saturn return, this Aries Saturn return, this slow, patient curriculum really ask of you? It asks for very little. It does not ask you to be brave in public. It only asks you to be honest in private. It does not ask you to leap. It only asks you to stop leaping at things you already know are not yours. It does not ask you to become someone else. It only asks you to stop pretending to be someone you never were. It does not ask you to figure out the rest of your life. It only asks you to be willing to sit in the candlelight, on this small wooden chair, with this old patient teacher, and let the lesson arrive at its own pace. It does not ask you to enjoy this season. It only asks you to trust that the season is doing something. It does not ask for your obedience. It only asks for your attention. And mostly it asks you to rest. Because the deepest work of this Saturn return cannot happen while you are exhausted. The deepest work happens at night. The deepest work happens in sleep. The deepest work happens when your defenses are down, and your heart is open, and your mind is not yet trying to interpret. The deepest work happens here. Now, tonight, here are the 7 gifts this Saturn return is quietly leaving on your desk while you sleep. The first gift is a quieter heart, not a less feeling one, a less reactive one. By the end of this transit, the small things that used to make you spin will not make you spin anymore. You will still feel them. You will simply have a longer hallway between feeling them and responding to them. The second gift is a clearer voice, not a louder one, a more accurate one. You will say what you mean. The people who can hear it will move closer. The people who could only hear the old voice will fall away gently, and it will not hurt as much as you thought it would. The third gift is sturdier hands, not bigger ones, steadier ones. Hands that can hold a difficult conversation without trembling. Hands that can stay open when they want to close. Hands that can do slow work without rushing it. Hands that finally know what they are for. The fourth gift is a slower mind, not a less intelligent one, a less anxious one. Thoughts will still come. They will simply come at the speed your nervous system can actually handle. You will think about fewer things at once, and you will think about them more deeply. The mind, by the end of this transit, will become a place you are willing to spend time in. The fifth gift is a longer breath, not a forced one, a natural one. As the inside of you settles, the breath settles too. You will notice 6 months from now that you are sighing less, that your shoulders are lower, that the small tension in your jaw is gone. You will not remember when it left. The teacher will not point it out. The body will simply have learned to rest. The sixth gift is a kinder reflection, not a more flattering one, a more honest one. When you look in the mirror, you will see someone you actually recognize. Not the version your family expected. Not the version the internet trained you to perform. The version that has been quietly true the whole time, waiting for the rest of you to catch up. The seventh gift is a softer kind of strength, not a brittle one. The kind of strength that does not need to prove itself because it has done the work, and the work is its own proof. By the end of this transit, your strength will not be a thing you announce. It will be a thing people feel in the room before you have said a word. These 7 gifts are already on the desk. They are wrapped in soft paper. They do not have your name on them. They do not need names. They are yours. Now let yourself sink a little deeper into the chair. Let the blanket grow a little warmer. Let the candle burn a little lower. The teacher does not mind. The teacher knows this part too. You can feel your eyelids growing heavy. You can feel the room growing softer at the edges. You can feel the slate on the wall begin to blur. The word real, the word yours, both still there, both still true, both no longer needing to be read tonight. The teacher rises slowly and walks to the wood stove and adds one more piece of wood. The warmth in the room deepens. The teacher walks back and sits down, and folds their hands on the desk, and waits, the way they have been waiting for thousands of years. You do not have to stay awake. The teacher does not require it. The teacher will be here in the morning. The teacher will be here every morning, for as long as Saturn is in Aries. The class will continue. You do not have to graduate. You only have to keep showing up in whatever shape you can manage. Tonight your shape is this: resting, receiving, soft, heavy, held. You are allowed to want what you want. You are allowed to use your courage gently. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to say what is true. You are allowed to begin again. You are not behind. You are becoming someone you have not met yet. And the meeting will happen, in its own time, in candlelight, in a small room on a hillside, where an old patient teacher has been waiting for you since the day you were born. Let your breath grow slow. Let your body grow heavy. Let the candle inside the schoolhouse burn down to a soft, golden glow. The teacher closes the small book on the desk. The teacher does not speak. The teacher only nods slowly once, the way they nodded when you walked in. The lesson is over for tonight. The lesson will continue tomorrow. There is nothing you need to do. Outside the window, the stars are still slow. Inside, the wool blanket is still warm. The chair is still holding you. The candle is still burning, low in gold, low in gold, low in gold. Let yourself drift. You are safe. You are taught. You are taught well. You are taught by the kindest, slowest, most honest teacher in the sky, and the teacher loves you in the quiet way that old teachers love their students, which is to say, the teacher believes in who you are becoming, even on the nights when you cannot. Especially on the nights when you cannot. Tonight is one of those nights. And that is all right. That is exactly the right kind of night. The teacher prefers these nights. The lesson lands deeper on the nights you cannot believe. Sleep, friend. Sleep through the lesson. Let it arrive while your defenses are down. Let it settle into your bones the way the warmth from the wood stove settles into the wool blanket. Slowly, completely, without your supervision. The teacher is still there. The teacher will still be there in the morning. The teacher will still be there next month. The teacher will still be there next year. The teacher does not leave. The teacher is the planet of time, and time does not abandon anyone. May your sleep be deep. May your dreams be kind. May the morning find you taught. Good night, friend. Good night.